Alright, yo, what's going on, all my gamers, all my Genshin gamers? I don't really want to take up too much time because this is actually a pretty long video. It's about half an hour, and you know me, I like to ramble and talk, so I'm actually gonna, this is gonna be a pretty long one, but Wriothesley'S voice actor for Genshin, Joey Zaja, I don't know how to say his name. He released a video called Genshin and the SAG-AFTRA Strike, What You Need to Know, and from what I have seen, this both answers a lot and nothing at the same time. That's just what I heard. But I also heard it exposes a lot. Like, this is a pretty big bombshell that he drops, I think. I've only gotten I just looked at some comments because as he released his video, I was doing some other things and then I had to go to work. So I'm really doing this off of work and I'm actually very tired, but I'm going to try to get through it. So let's watch it. I wanted to get this video out immediately. Because from what I heard, this should be something big.
We've lost our shared humanity over a gacha game.
Good start. Anyways,
Okay, guys, it's time we had to talk about Genshin, Hoyo, and the strike because, man, it sucks out there right now. And before I start, I do want to say a big thank you to everyone who I consulted with while I was writing this script, okay?
Right.
I talked with union members, I talked with non-union members, talent and fans, etc. My goal here is twofold: educate and de-escalate. So a big thank you to all the people that helped.
That's probably not going to happen. I'm just going to be real with you. It's kind of too late for that.
Get grounded and get the facts before getting started. If you haven't seen my original video where I explain the strike itself, I'm gonna go over a little bit of it again here, but you might want to check that out first before diving into the incredible amount of nuance that I'm about to do in this video. First, this video is designed, and I want you to pay attention here, to outline facts. And in any case where I absolutely have to inject my opinion, I've done my best to make it clear that I'm doing so. It's not here to render judgment on studios or casting directors, Hoyo, the fandom, actors, nobody. The reason I'm making this is because I've gotten so many questions and the internet situation is so weird every day from well-meaning individuals in the community asking for updates on the SAG-AFTRA strike and recasts, etc. Stuff that most actors really don't have any insight on, right? We're just actors. We don't know what Hoyo is thinking, etc., etc. But given that nearly every social media platform has become a powder keg, I'm getting a little tired of seeing our shared humanity deteriorate over a gacha game.
So then why, oh why, did no one else call out the VAs when they go and bully one of the new characters being casted is my question. Sure, I mean, I'm going to let him say his piece, but before that, that's just what I want to know. I don't want this to be like, oh, we all had this happen together. Sure, there were some people, of course, that were being weird, and I will never, agree with what they do and like the things that they send people in their DMs, but let's not act like this wasn't because of the VAs doing like solely. Like if the VAs didn't go after Kenich's new voice actor, none of this would have happened. We know this. Let's not act like that's not what happened.
Okay. The social phenomenon that is Genshin Impact and its follow-on Hoyo games have changed the voice acting industry and fandom in many ways. It's very, very unique. Some ways that I don't think are that great. This is my attempt to bring us back to reality with some facts. If you're looking for more toxicity or someone like spilling the tea, you are absolutely in the wrong place on this video. The other thing that I want to say is that I don't speak for any individual other than myself, even though I did a lot of research and talking with a lot of people to come up with the script for this video. The things I'm presenting here are what I believe to be true based on years of working in this industry, conversations with other actors, agents, directors, studios, etc., etc. I'm not a lawyer, I'm not a negotiator, or anyone who has the power to go out and affect change, okay?
Right.
I'm someone trying to spread understanding in my role as a teacher and an actor in a world full of viral social media posts that are both untrue and inflammatory. And that's what we need now. We need shared understanding, okay? This is my attempt to provide it. First, let's briefly recap the SAG-AFTRA video game strike. The Actors Union is currently on strike, which means its members are not allowed to work for video games only. for a select group of production companies in the effort of bringing formal protections into our contracts regarding our voices being used for the purposes of AI. This means that actors who are a member of the union, SAG-AFTRA, are not allowed to work on those certain struck games from those certain struck companies. I'll say it again. The strike is for specific union games, for specific union signatories.
I don't like where this is going.
For actors that are a member of the union. Games that are non-union, meaning that their companies are not signed to union contracts, are by definition not struck. In addition to that, games that started production before the strike are also not struck. It's a very confusing atmosphere, I know, but I can relieve that confusion for Genshin fans specifically by saying this. Do you know what company isn't in that select group of production companies being struck? Hoyo. I cannot emphasize enough that MiHoYo properties are not and never have been union games.
Hold on, wait. What? I paused it twice. I didn't mean to. Keep going.
Therefore, Genshin has never been a struck property. There are 0 union rules governing Genshin or any MiHoYo game, period.
Are you saying these mother have not been showing up to work for the fucking love of the game? Quite literally, these assholes are asking for something that that there's not even a stricken game. You cannot be serious. Where the hell have you assholes been for the past half a year? If you are not striking this game and it does not affect this game and this company is not your target, where the fuck have you guys been? Why the fuck are you not showing up to work? If this is true, which I believe him 100%, get the fuck to work, shut the fuck up. If there is any other VA that wants to come out and start talking and calling people scab, I am on their ass immediately. In fact, anyone, because no one other Genshin CC is talking about this, I'm going to be the one to say it. I am, as the face of Genshin, get the fuck out of our game. Don't come back. Recast or quit. I don't care how. Leave. As of right now, you are not welcome here anymore. You're done. I'm cutting your contract. Me, myself. You're out of here. Oh my God. I don't even want to watch the rest of it, chat. I don't. I really don't. But we're going to. Go ahead.
End of story as of this date. This is not a debate. This means, and I want you to listen very carefully here, if the SAG-AFTRA strike ended tomorrow, this would mean absolutely nothing for Hoyo Games and its actors. If suddenly WB and Formosa, Keywords, all the rest, threw a ticker tape parade and said, we agree to all the actors' demands, yay! Nothing would change for Genshin or Star Rail or Triple.
I can't believe it. You're serious.
Z or any other non-union game. So point number 1, please stop talking about Genshin like it has anything to do with the SAG-AFTRA strike. Genshin is not a union game. The actors working on it are not working under a union contract, period. Put a pin in that, okay? Because we're going to come back to the idea of union and non-union actors in a minute.
So then tell them that, which I guess he is kind of talking to them. But this is not towards us. This is not towards the gamers. This is towards the actors. Because we don't say it like this. We don't talk about, or at least I don't talk about it like this. Oh my God, I'm actually so upset. Keep going.
Now that we've sort of covered union and non-union games. Okay, so why the hell aren't actors going in to record lines for Genshin if it's not struck? When the strike happened, many Genshin actors got together in various disparate channels and decided that now would be a good time to try to engage with Hoyo and encourage them to take some action. Actors could use the momentum, the social momentum of the SAG-AFTRA strike to include Hoyo properties in the conversation.
Why? For what reason, bro? You guys are quite literally trolling. I don't even know how else to say it. There is no other word to say it. You guys are genuinely fucking trolling. I don't know. Oh my god, sorry.
Again, though, it's not a strike, and it has nothing to do with the union. Since this is not a strike, I'm not going to call it a strike. From here on, I'm going to call it a collective work refusal.
Sure, I don't care what you call it.
It's not governed by any one body like SAG-AFTRA. There is no one result desired like a collective bargaining agreement, and there is no penalty for not participating, unlike the SAG-AFTRA strike. If you are a union member and you cross the line and record games you're not supposed to, you can be penalized. In a non-union environment, that doesn't exist. So, what did Genshin actors want? This is where some of the confusion kind of begins. The goal wasn't really totally clear. Some actors wanted them to sign a union agreement and flip union, become a union game. You might have heard this called an interim agreement, which just has to do with a agreement that's going on during a strike, or a full union contract. There's some nuance of difference here. Because Genshin's an ongoing game, they're essentially the same thing. Others wanted them to just add AI protections into their non-union contract. Something like the Nova rider, okay?
Right.
Which is something that any actor can attach to any contract.
Which they already have, by the way. They have AI protections
to legally protect themselves against AI exploitation.
They already have it.
And some actors, understandably, didn't really know what to think about the whole thing. But they were motivated by the social side. Solidarity, social obligation, community feeling, and then
pandering. Trying to look good on Twitter. Trying to get into the clique that is probably getting all the game contracts and all the voice work. Let's make sure that all that's in there too.
They also refused to work. This is part of the problem of non-union games, or non-union anything, actually. Since there's no actual collective bargaining agreement governed by any union, it becomes difficult for a group of people to take a collective action. In social psychology, you call this a collective action problem. It's very complicated. So anytime a group of non-union actors tries to get together to achieve any result, it's hard. It's hard for us to communicate. It's hard for us to bargain. Since there are no rules in place, any actor is free to just disregard that collective effort at any time with no penalty, unlike, again, an actual strike where you can get fined or kicked out of the union for strike breaking. So, as a result, some actors simply kept working. Some actors stopped working and then went back to work after only a few weeks of refusing to come in. Some actors stuck it out and haven't been recast. Some actors stuck it out and have been recast. Ultimately, the decision to work or not to work has become a very individual and not a collective decision. So you can see how the waters are already very muddy here.
You know what would have made this not muddied and would have gotten, I feel like you guys would have gone a lot further? Not lying, probably. I feel like that would have been pretty cool. You know, that would have gotten you a lot further. And being open and transparent like this. Why is this something 6 months later that we are now just finding out and no one else wanted to talk about it?
Here. Now, let me muddy them further. In January 2025, a new California law, AB2602, was put into effect. It says that unless there is very specific wording in a contract telling an actor that a digital replica, an AI clone, will be created of them, then it is illegal to do so. That actor must also be professionally represented and not an independent agent, or the company may not create a digital replica of their work even if they put it in the contract. So an uneducated actor without an agent can't just accidentally stumble into a contract that steals their voice. Since, to my knowledge, no Hoyo contract specifically says they will make a digital replica using an actor's data, they are therefore, by AB 2602, specifically prohibited from doing so. Therefore, any California actor is now protected from having a digital replica made by Hoyo. This means that the barrier for returning to work for many California actors has been achieved. There's more. This law, AB 2602, only prevents a company from a one-to-one digital replica. So Hoyo can't take my voice without my permission and make Wriothesley lines, but it doesn't prevent them from using my voice to train models or blending my voice with another person's to create a new and unique voice. This is kind of like a weird, unclear loophole part of the law.
I could see that. Yeah, but I still don't think Hoyo would do that because of like Chinese laws and like how they see voice actors and stuff like that. I just don't see it happening, right? Like I feel like even still, we're not getting to the point of why this is starting to happen or why it even happened in the first place.
Clarified over time, but you also have to remember that the whole world is kind of in a legal flail right now, trying to catch up to the technology. As an aside, right, the Nava writer and presumably the union contract would have that added layer of protection about training and blending. But we're not totally sure right now on the union contract side because that hasn't been agreed on yet, hence the continued strike. So we don't know what that final contract will contain. Genshin, being under a union contract, would also award the actors the added intended benefit of having the SAG-AFTRA legal team behind them. If Hoyo, or any company, decides to disregard the contract and make replicas anyway, it would be up to the individual actor to sue them in a non-union contract. A complicated, expensive thing to do for a single individual, to the point of, honestly, like near impossibility. I'm not gonna go toe-to-toe with Hoyo using my own legal team, which I don't have. But it's much easier for a union with 160,000 members in it to do so on an actor's behalf. Now, the historical effectiveness of SAG-AFTRA's legal team could be called into question here as to whether or not they would do the job or do a good job, but I'm trying to outline the principles here, okay? A union contract would afford an actor the protection if Hoyo or any other game company broke that contract. So, the non-union world has protection via the California law, yes, but not full protection. And if violated, it will be very difficult for a non-union actor to prosecute a billion-dollar company on their own. Are you seeing how difficult this situation is yet? How
No. What does this still have to, okay, like I'm trying to hang in there, and it's like I get what he's saying, right? I get it, but it's like I don't see Hoyo doing that. So it's like this is all well and good, but why then still not come show up to work and strike a game that had no intention of doing this in the first place, right? That's just what I'm wondering, and this is not something that is still being answered. But let's keep going.
It is for even the people involved. Now, could Hoyo make this situation completely vanish by simply signing a union contract? Yes, they absolutely could. It's a good argument to make. It seems like a flawless argument to make, actually, if you have limited understanding of how union contracts work and what the implications are for the company, financially, legally, procedurally. There's more to this than just pencil whipping a contract, okay? Negotiations take time and patience, and the bigger the company, the longer they take. When you're trying to kind of shoehorn a gigantic foreign company into a discussion about United States labor law, things can get confusing really fast. But it is important to say that yes, Hoyo could absolutely make all this go away by just signing a union contract.
I don't think they should. At this point, after everything that's happened, I don't even see them wanting to do it. Honestly, I feel like they just screwed themselves out of having that point, and especially with a video like this that's showing everybody what that these people have not been coming to work for quite literally no reason. I feel like they've just lost everybody.
Talks to that effect have been going on for a long time with ups and downs and starts and stops.
Well, I hope
but
they don't
can't
do
speak
it.
to them as to whether or why not Hoyo is going to do it. We can argue all day whether or not that would be the right thing to do, right? Or whether or not a corporation has like moral obligation.
Okay, here's the thing, right? I feel like it would be fine if it was a different union for a different set of actors. Something about SAG-AFTRA doesn't sit right with me. I don't trust that union in any way, shape, or form. I feel like I trust that union less than I trust the company. Like, the company has done a lot more to be against AI than SAG-AFTRA, I feel like. Or, like, this company specifically, like hoyoverse.
Or even a moral sense of duty. That's not this video. But one thing we can't argue about is that it would definitively bring back every single actor that is collectively refusing to work on Hoyo properties.
Recast them. I'm over it. Just recast them. I don't care if they come back. I don't even want them to come back. Just recast them at this point. Like, do you know how, I'm still like steaming over this. Do you know how long I have been defending this strike just for this to happen? Just for this to come out this way? Like, bro. Whatever. Go ahead.
Right now, it would bring them back instantaneously. While I've said that these things
I
are complicated,
don't care.
And they are, we also have to zoom out and acknowledge the elephant in the room here, okay? Hoyo is not a scrappy indie dev trying to count pennies to make it by. This is a multi-billion-dollar company operating on a global scale.
Off of one game.
If anyone has the resources, legal muscle, and the infrastructure to navigate a union contract, it's them. I said I would avoid speculation in this video, so I won't start throwing around ideas as to why Hoyo hasn't done this yet, other than what I've already said. But I do want to emphasize that this action is absolutely well within their power. Other companies like them in China have signed union agreements in the past. So yes, the paperwork is real, the finances are real, the international complications are real, but let's be honest, resource constraints are not the barrier here. And that's part of what's made this situation so frustrating for so many people. The perception, maybe the reality, I'm not sure, that Hoyo could fix this with just a single signature on a union contract and just hasn't done it, right? That's what's frustrating people. Had Hoyo gone union a year ago, many of the actors working on it would have qualified for their health insurance on Genshin alone. A huge, huge benefit for actors. Yes, big corporations take a long time to make these sort of large decisions, but how long is too long? I can't answer that, and neither can people on Twitter. But let's talk about that decision to go union and how it affects more than just Hoyo. Let's spin it around and talk about the actors and try my best to cover all the possibilities here. What happens to actors, both union and non-union, if they do sign an agreement with the union? Contrary to many misinformed Twitter rants, that does not mean that all the non-union actors on the game would get replaced. That's a wildly ignorant claim, and one that's very harmful to progress to spread. The real answer is, as you might expect at this point if you've been paying any attention at all, it depends. It actually has to do with the actor's individual situation, as well as where they live, bizarrely enough. Let me clarify. If the actor lives in a right-to-work state, such as Texas, then nothing happens at all. Right-to-work laws within states specifically prevent a union from stopping people from working if they're not a member of the union. They can continue working on Genshin forever. If the actor does not live in a right-to-work state, now we're getting murky. You might have heard the term Taft-Hartley thrown around, and I advise you really just don't look too deep into this because it's confusing. It's a piece of labor law that actually has nothing to do with SAG-AFTRA. It was written in 1947 and designed as a path to both protect people from being forced to join unions, but also offer them more flexible ways to join if they want to. For our purposes, bringing it back to us, consider a Taft-Hartley like a temporary 60-day union pass to allow someone who is non-union to work on a union job. After that, they're considered a must join, at which point, like the status implies, they must join the union or stop working union jobs. I'll break here for a second and tell you that it is significantly more complicated than that. There are caveats as to when the Taft-Hartley triggers, for example. It's also possible to negotiate an individual waiver with the union and say, look, I'm only ever gonna work this one union job. Please don't make me join. I won't do anything else. And they can say yes. There's flexibility here. These, however, are edge cases that are just beyond the scope of this video. This would be a 5-hour video. In the simplest sense, you can do on a Taft-Hartley a very limited amount of union work as a non-union member before you have to join. And that sort of makes perfect sense if you think about it. The union offers actual tangible benefits, even for a single contract. Reaping those benefits without being a union member and paying your dues is like extending your Netflix free trial indefinitely. At some point, you gotta pay for what you're using. But being able to join the union for some actors can be a really good thing. Getting into the union is a stepping stone in many actors' careers, and it can actually be difficult to qualify for the union because, bizarrely, the only way into the union is if you get Taft-Hartley first and then join. Oh, simple. No, it's not. I don't want to delve too far into union membership here, but it is important to understand and consider why an actor might not want to join the union. The entry fee itself can be steep, depending on where you live. Mine was nearly $4,000 when I joined 10 years ago. So that talent would have to know for certain that we're going to get at least 5 sessions out of Genshin to make up for that loss. That's about how much money you'd make in 5 union video game sessions, depending on the tier that you're in. Again, complicated. Or that actor would have to feel confident enough that they could book other union work to help them bring that number, that entry fee number, back to 0. You do get pension and health benefits, okay? But you only qualify for health benefits if...
Wait, is he just moving on from that? Did he not say what was gonna happen to... He didn't. So what would happen to the non-union voice actors? I was like waiting for him to talk about it. And this is kind of like one of the things I saw about it. He didn't say anything about it. So what would happen to the... Okay, just keep going because this part's almost done. He's not done.
You earn a certain income of union work, around $30,000 a year. You would need to do 30 Genshin sessions to make that. Probably more like 35. Which makes healthcare sort of a moot point for Genshin actors, unless, again, you're confident you're going to get other union work. You can also break up that entrance fee into a payment plan. So it's not like you'll just get like a $4,000 bill, but it's still $4,000 you might not want to spend. Here's another big one that's become a very hot button issue in the last 8 months. Joining the union also technically prohibits an actor.
Okay, here we go. Here we go. He might talk about it here.
Which statistically comprises nearly 80% of all voiceover work available. We call this rule Global Rule 1. So you might have heard that terminology before.
Right.
When you're union, you cannot work non-union jobs. Period. Yikes. So now I'm going to start dividing the room here in this video. I'm going to piss some people off because even if you're a little bit of a detective, you have to be asking this question so far. If you're in the union and you're in Genshin, are you breaking the rules? The answer is, you guessed it, you've been paying attention, it depends.
Wait, he's still not... So what would happen to the voice actors who don't join the union? Actually, I think I saw a comment about that. Isn't that what the comments were saying? Unfortunately, the video that tried to answer solves the problem. The same VAs aren't helpful. The most important thing about community is what about international VA situation? Say like it depends. It's like Hoyo depends, or like I'm trying to see, did anyone actually like he didn't really talk about it. Union voice actors are blowing like no one's. He never really said what would happen to the non-union voice actors.
But, yes.
What the hell would happen to them?
Breaking the rules. The "it depends" part is a caveat in union membership called the financial core, or FI core status, which is a complicated legal caveat I don't want to get into here. But if you're FI core, you can legally work non-union jobs as a union member without being penalized. You do lose some surrogate benefits, like the ability to vote in union elections, be on any board or committee in the union, attend union functions, go to union classes, etc. But you do...
Bro, the union sucks. Is anyone else getting that? Honestly, for their benefit, I hope it doesn't go union, and I hope they get rid of this union. This union kind of blows dick. Honestly, bro. Like... So I've said this before in other videos, but as a union, I'm a union man myself. All I know is I pay a union due every month, and I get some top tier health insurance forever, with like 401k, pension, all that, forever, just from being in it. Like, what is with all these restrictions, bro?
Do retain health and pension benefits. I say this here because I get that question a lot, specifically about health and pension. There used to be a large social stigma associated with being FI-Core.
There should be a stigma for being SAG-AFTRA. This union kind of sucks, bro.
For example, the SAG-AFTRA official website still calls them scabs. It's a little strange. But as the landscape has changed over the last 20 years, particularly in...
Yeah, you know what's crazy? The other actors also call people scabs. Kind of weird, huh?
Voice acting, it's not quite the reality anymore. Again, 80% of the work out there for voice actors is non-union. However, if you're a full union member and you work a non-union job and someone reports you and the union decides to take action, you could get in trouble for breaking Global Rule 1. You could get fined, or you could get kicked out of the union, or you could just get a nasty letter in the mail. It kind of depends. So for a Genshin actor, to avoid that, you could theoretically join the union if you're a must-join after working for over 60 days on a Taft-Hartley, and then immediately go FICOR. You're never actually forced into being a full member of the union.
I would never be a member of this union. I'm going to be so honest. I'm just going to take my chances with dude, I would much rather be casted for this game and then move to another country with better health insurance. I would probably have a better chance than actually trying to get the minimum for this union to get the health insurance. This shit sucks. Like, honestly, bro.
Do in fact have options.
What's
but
the
landscape
point?
Is complicated. The truth of it is, though, that many union actors do take that calculated risk without going FICOR.
Right.
Because they need to work to live. And again, 80% of the work for voice actors is non-union. There are droves of union actors on the Genshin, Triple Z, and Star Rail cast, and many other incredibly popular games that are doing this. Union voice actors, now on-camera actors has a little bit of a different culture that makes zero sense for me to go into here. Union voice actors work non-union jobs fairly often. We also call this working off the card. And historically have not gotten in trouble for it. I have several ideas about why, but again, I'm really trying hard to stick to facts and not speculation here. This isn't something you could definitively, deduce. But during a video game strike, the union might take the opportunity to send a message to a bunch of union actors working off card on really popular non-union games to make a point. And that brings me to the real tricky part, the social side of things. Rules and regulations are one thing, but industry perceptions and relationships are something completely different.
Which you guys have honestly just, not you specifically, Zach. I'm sorry. I don't want to say, is his name Zach? Joe, sorry. I don't know why I keep saying Zach. I'm thinking of Zach Aguilar. Sorry, Joe. These people have quite literally ruined any perception of this union. It got people to actually look into every legal document that this union has, and it's like at this point I don't think anyone's supporting this whole strike thing. Like, you guys might as well just come back to work because you guys aren't getting any more support at this point.
I want you to understand that I'm not getting to this here because this is not measurable. It is a feeling. It is actually part of the problem in a lot of ways. So when we start asking questions like, well, why doesn't everyone just go FICOR? Or are people being blacklisted for working on non-union games during...
Yeah, I think they are. The answer is obviously yes, by the way. I'm sure people are that. Or just going against, the clique. Because these voice actors go in, cliques, which is why you see a lot of them coming together to not be... to do this quote-unquote strike. Is because they're cliquey. This is what the whole English VA on the West does. Is why English voice actors kind of suck.
During the strike, these really deal with non-measurable social feelings that can be very powerful, yes, but fall outside the bounds of what I'm trying to do here with this video, which is give as much factual clarity as I can. There are absolutely subjective social effects for doing things like being FICOR, working off the card, not participating in a collective work refusal like what's going on with Genshin right now. There are also subjective social effects for doing things like reporting other actors who are breaking Global Rule 1, which some see as snitching, or getting involved in online arguments that explode in publicity firestorms. But since I can't define those, I really don't feel like they have a place in this video.
I'll define them. If you're gonna go against your own co-stars and start to berate them when you know you've been lying this whole time about a strike that doesn't even involve you, you're gonna lose everybody. Everyone's support. Anyone who would have supported you in any kind of way at this point. And I'm gonna make sure that that I show this to as many people as possible. Specifically because if no other Genshin CC is going to do it, I'm going to talk about it. But at this point, you guys are just like, I would pack it in, bro. I would start putting the fries in the bag, metaphorically.
Anyone who says they have the facts on social repercussions during a time like this is certainly definitively incorrect, because there is no such thing. But I bring it up here.
Just don't dogpile on your new castmate. It is quite literally that simple. There is nothing hard about that concept to respect your fellow voice actors when you guys are calling him a scab and none of you are actually in a strike. Okay, let's not act like you guys are, oh God, how do we navigate this space of social media and our perception? It's easy. Don't be an asshole. You would think that'd be the easiest thing to do, but apparently these voice actors have been the ones to show us that I guess it's harder than you think.
To let you know that actors, and I say actors here specifically because it's hard to define like a company's social influence.
Call them losers,
actors
that's what I call
are
them.
being influenced in their individual decisions by these social factors as well, which are very undefinable. These are questions like, if I work on Genshin during the strike, even though I'm FICOR and it's totally legal, will other actors shame me? Or, if I refuse to work and then get recast, what happens to my career? Genshin is my only big project right now, and I'm not confident in my ability to get more work. Actors have to deal with
Get a real job.
the rumor mill just like anyone else. And it unfortunately plays a part, sometimes a large part.
I don't know why he's showing this social media when it should just show like the faces of the other voice actors, because they're the only ones who are really like putting other actors down.
In everything we do. When we also run the risk of things like death threats and harassment online, it makes it even more difficult for us to make clear decisions, speak our minds, or even engage in intelligent, curious discourse with our peers or fans. I can't tell you how
That part's true. That part I can't really defend. That part he's absolutely right on.
many of my colleagues talk about this issue behind closed doors, and only behind closed doors, because out in the open, it is just a toxic mess right now.
They're quite literally, if you go back 4 weeks ago, or how long has this been going on? 3 weeks? Literally the day before, nobody has been coming after you guys. And at this point, even me myself, I was the one who I was supporting every voice actor in terms of this strike. I'm talking slowly because I'm trying to get my words out without me like popping off, because I'm so annoyed. I'm pretty pissed. You guys quite literally brought this upon yourself and brought people like coming after you guys and like talking shit online. You did this to yourself, and there's nobody to blame but you guys. I'm talking to those actors. I'm not talking to Joe. Joe has been a pretty good guy. Same with any other VA who wasn't acting like this. And especially, I think it was Ben's voice actor. Is that who it was? I don't remember. One of the voice actors who came out. Auroron's voice actor came out and congratulated him. Everybody loved him. Everybody was like, sick, dude. Or he was like, yeah, you know, congrats. Welcome to the team. Dude, everybody loves him. Everybody loves Auroron's voice actor. He was so cool about the whole situation, so everybody is backing him.
So even if you think you understand what I've said so far about contracts and union membership and the strike, California law, and all of that, there's still the very unmeasurable and very powerful social element to consider. All of the above goes into the single decision of an actor to work or not work on not just Genshin, but many, many projects. I hope you're understanding how complicated this situation is. We're dealing with laws in multiple states, multiple countries. We're dealing with the union. We're dealing with non-union independent contracts. We're dealing with fragmented AI protections, some of which are full, some of which are not. And worst of all, we're dealing with an insanely popular game with a very enthusiastic base of both actors and fans.
I'm not gonna lie, I really just want to speed it up. I just don't care for what else he has to say, but I want to see this video out to the end. Like, a lot, it's not his fault, right? Kinda. I mean, no, it's not Joe's fault, but it's like everything. He's still in a way trying to make it seem like, yeah, the strike or the Genshin, or what am I trying to say? the union is still probably a good idea. And let's not, like, he was right there just being like, oh, let's not bully the actors. You know, this is such a hard thing to navigate, when it was quite literally their fault in, like, the most obvious way. Like, we could see the tweets. Like, it's not like the tweets are gone. We can still see them. And we all have proof that they had happened. Right? I'm not making this up. I didn't just bring this drama out of thin air. We know it happened. And it's like, what are you doing, bro? Like, I'm genuinely asking, what the fuck are you doing?
Fans who are consistently, but not necessarily intentionally, injecting misinformation into this massive, depressing, toxic gristmill that...
Show me it. Call it out right now. Tell me exactly what was misinformation that we have all been saying.
We call social media. Protected by the anonymity of a profile pic of a cucumber with sunglasses or whatever, people then feel free to take small nuggets of truth, wrap them in a giant cocoon of opinion, then set them on fire and toss them around with a lot of vitriolic language.
So call it out. Say what it is right now.
Because it gets the clicks, and we're all more concerned.
Like, bro, we're not just making up this random topic to just come after voice actors. Like, genuinely, bro, this stuff is... Oh my god, this is so frustrating. And I was kind of on board with them up and... Kind of like, he had me coming and going. But, like, what are we doing, bro? Don't tell me you're gonna go down the same route of people are doing this just for clicks and for views. If he doesn't talk about his own co-stars, I'm just gonna turn the video off.
With dunking on each other than learning about each other. You know, in some ways, this is a very human reaction. We don't want to operate in a gray area. We want things to be simple and clean. We want good guys and bad guys. Will Hoyo go union? Will they add additional AI protections?
He didn't call out his voice actors. He's just talking about clicks and stuff like that. I'm going to give him the... Oh my god, this is actually so... I'm legit about to turn this off. I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt and say that he was talking about his fellow voice actors in the same part, because that's going to stop me from just turning off this video. Go ahead.
Into non-union contracts instead. Will they simply recast everyone who's refusing to come in?
I hope so.
I don't know. I'm not part of these conversations. And to be very frank, almost everyone who I talked to who said they definitely know about those conversations going on have given me conflicting information, which means that, again, lots of people are saying they know when in fact they don't. And again, if the people on the front lines in this industry don't have all the information, Reddit probably doesn't either. What we do know is that nothing has changed for Hoyo contractually yet. And they have, in fact, recast actors who have refused to come in. They waited a while with their character silent before...
Good. Good.
We're doing that. What they're waiting for, I'm not totally sure. We do know that Chinese companies tend to not bend to the will of the masses. They don't respond well to mob rule on social media. But we also know...
Because they don't see it. I'm just going to be honest, that a lot of our social media isn't there in China. That's why they have Bilibili. That's why they have Weibo. And, you know, what else? Xiaohongshu, which I love that. I love that app, bro. There's so many pretty women on there. I'm trying to think of what other social media they have. So they have Bilibili, Douyin, Xiaohongshu. I know some of them are League of Legends teams. Did I say Weibo? God, there's a few others. So they don't really see this stuff because they don't have it over there. That's why a lot of people, when you complain about these games and stuff like that, maybe hoyoverse will see it, right? Because hoyoverse is in Singapore. But MiHoYo, there's no shot, bro. They quite literally probably don't even see it. Like, just being honest.
Know that other large Chinese developers have signed union contracts with no problem. Should they protect their actors from AI exploitation? Yes, absolutely.
They do.
No one will argue that. It's a difficult claim to make that actors shouldn't have agency over their likeness. But will Hoyo do it without some sort of intervention law like California AB2602 to do it for them? I'm not sure. Will a collective
Yeah, they call it Chinese law.
work refusal push them to do it? Evidence right now is not saying so, no, but that could change. I'm not sure.
I hope it doesn't. Sorry, I know I'm constantly interrupting them, but I'm just so
Will Hoyo fill those roles that it's recasting? We're seeing now that they likely will. They haven't.
Get every actor from Wuthering Waves. They'll do it, bro. And I think they just signed Soundside Studio, so I hope they do. I hope they get the Wuthering Waves cast to get into this game because those are some amazing actors.
They may continue to do so in the future. So actors need to decide individually what they're going to do with all of this data. As you can see, it's not easy. I'm trying very hard here not to comment on specific subsets of this issue about what's going on literally right now with individual people, because a semantic argument really helps nobody at this point. But I will say this. If you're finding yourself on an extreme side of this issue, one way or another, it's probably time to admit to yourself that it's because you don't have all the information. Because once you do have all the information, it's very hard to play this as black and white as social media wants us to play. If I've done nothing else in this video, what I hope I've done is show you just how confusing this landscape is and how collective action problems can be very difficult to solve. Even when a collective bargaining organization is involved, like the union, you can see that since we're still 8 months into this strike and we've had so many strikes over the last 10 years, it's still extremely difficult to solve this kind of problem. So, when you take a collective bargaining official organization out of the equation in the non-union world, and then make it up to a bunch of individual actors from wildly different walks of life, economic statuses, and personal opinions to try to chart a collective path forward, it gets even worse. So when you see individual people making individual decisions, remember that they're individuals. No one is the villain in their own story.
Are you kidding me? Are you now giving an excuse to these voice actors? That's not real. No way, right? There's no way.
You might be the villain in somebody else's. With the exception
Oh my god, there's no way you're serious. All right, whatever. Just play it out. I don't care.
Exception of my several rants about
I
social
honestly
media
don't care
toxicity
anymore.
and mob rule in this video, something I feel very passionate about on the side. I also hope I achieved my objective of teaching instead of influencing, okay? I'm not looking for you to take action. I'm looking for you to understand and think for yourself. My goal here was to break down the many complicated facts of the current strike, how Genshin and Hoyo are involved, how actors make decisions and talk to each other, bargain, build a career in a field that's very difficult to navigate, to grow in, and succeed in. It is my sincere hope that this video will move the global conversation forward toward a productive resolution that respects not just human performers, but human beings. As I wrap this up, I imagine that many of you are feeling a little hollow. You might have come here looking for the right answer, and I've just spent a fair amount of time telling you that there might not be one. I'm not here to give you a best path forward. Other than that, I know that the toxic online discourse needs to stop immediately, and we need to spend a lot more time listening than talking. But on the bright side, this nebulous area is where we tend to thrive. Might not be one. I'm not here to give you a best path forward. Other than that, I know that the toxic online discourse needs to stop immediately, and we need to spend a lot more time listening than talking. But on the bright side, this nebulous area is where we tend to thrive and make great progress as a society. We excel at taking imperfect circumstances and making the best of them, but only if we communicate, get educated, and engage each other with respect and understanding.
Oh yeah.
Thank you for taking the time to get educated. Thank you for your passion, your creativity, your enthusiasm, your art. Thank you.
Oh my god.
Be kind to each other.
No way. There's no way, bro. There's no shot he somehow made it and said, let me hear that one more time in case I didn't hear it.
But on the bright side, sincere hope that this video will move the global conversation forward toward a productive resolution that respects not just human performers, but human beings. As I wrap this up, I imagine that many of you are feeling a little hollow. You might have come here looking for the right answer, and I've just spent a fair amount of time telling you that there might not be one. I'm not here to give you a best path forward. Other than that, I know that the toxic online discourse needs to stop.
Did you just make it about the toxic online discourse and you didn't talk about your fellow actors and you want me to take this video seriously? Oh my god, bro, this video is like the biggest piece of dog shit I've ever watched. There's no way. I'm over it. Chat, I don't care anymore. Whatever. I mean, if there another video of anything comes out, I'm going to cover it. But at this point, I'm tired. I need to sleep. I'm just so... Oh my god, I don't even know how to react to this video. Chat, comment, like, and subscribe. Become a member. I will catch you gamers in the next one. Bye.